When we observe any object around us, there is a urge to describe it, whether it's a stone or it's a sky or it's a color, and any attempt to explain what we are observing needs something else to introduce in order to explain it. It can be a thought, it can be some information which is borrowed from someone else, anything. I mean, the thing that we are the object that we are observing right now, to explain it we need to bring something else which is not present there, but we need to introduce it in order to explain it, because explanation is our desire. Explanation is not present in the object that we are looking right now, but any explanation is needed for day-to-day transactional level of life, because we have to use those explanation to make use of similar sort of actions that can be helpful for us. For that we need to introduce that, but that's the thing that is helping us, but it doesn't mean it's real. And why it's not real, to know that we need to look at the basic understanding that what we observe is basically action, and it's impossible to know the cause of these actions, because we introduced a concept called energy, and also the energy is interacting with something to produce the action. So that's something we say it's an object. So for example, when we see this picture, or whatever, you are watching this video on a mobile or a laptop or computer, so that computer or that electronic device is distinct from the surroundings based on what? Based on some actions which are resulting in distinct color, sound, uh, touch, taste, and smell. If you prefer to taste it, you can also taste it, but they have distinct properties or characteristics, and based on that we objectify that it's a laptop or it's my hand, this is that, this is that. But what we are seeing is action, because color is due to absorption emission of the light, sound is because the vibration of the medium, touch is because the repulsion of the electronic cloud of my skin and the object that I'm touching. So these are all phenomena or actions that we we introduced in order to explain the color or sound or whatever. And to explain those actions, we need to again further superimpose or introduce the energy, which is nothing but a concept, because we don't know what is an energy. Because the moment you want to know what is a particular form of energy, you have to introduce another object that will interact with that energy, and the moment it will interact with the energy, it will produce an action, and that we will perceive in terms of hotness, coldness, in terms of color, in terms of smell, taste, etc. So anything that is introduced uh, is bound to be false, but those are useful in our day-to-day life, so we cannot call them absolute false. We can call them a lower level of reality, because it's neither absolutely false because we are experiencing it in terms of our day-to-day life, but in the core, or if we analyze more, it's just an illusion, so it's false. Whether we accept it or not, it's false, but it has some usage in our day-to-day life. We can use those concepts in order to create certain actions that can be helpful for us. So we cannot call them absolutely false. So it's better to call them a lower level of reality. So what's the higher level of reality then? The higher level of reality is what we are actually perceiving by our sense organs without any introduction or superimposition. Superimposition is introduction of false cause to interpret a certain action. So any object what we are seeing right now, without any prejudice, without any ideas, thoughts, anything, just with a blank mind, if we observe what we are observing right now, that's the higher level of reality. And there is no discontinuity. So if you see this screen right now, all the colors are there, and the black color is also there. So the moment the color ends, the black starts immediately. So there is no discontinuity, and there cannot be any continuity if there are multiple different objects. So a continuity can only exist within similar object or similar thing. Anything which is different, there has to be some discontinuity. But if you look carefully, this screen or whatever, I mean, your hand, your skin, the exactly where your skin is ending, the surrounding is starting. So there is no gap between any object. Even the space is one of the principal categories of the object, which is basically forming the universe: the space, solid, liquid, gas, and the fire or plasma. So there is not a single uh, place in this whole observable universe where you will not find either of those five principal categories of objects, right? And all of them has their characteristic properties, which are the color, sound, touch, taste, and smell. So this is a fact, and that's the higher level of reality, without any sort of discontinuation and without any introduced concepts or thoughts or idea. That is hard to understand or to be familiar with it right now, because we are not used to those sort of discussions. But slowly, if we observe how things are superimposed on an action which are surrounding us, like the blowing of the wind, or anything, the water, the grass, the books, pens, everything, our body, our thoughts. Yeah, so let's go to the next slide. So any thought or concepts which we are actually not observing but we are introducing, either as a thought from our own mind, or we are borrowing from someone else. We don't know what it is. It's their explanation or their thought, but we are borrowing them in order to introduce them as a second-hand fact, which is not justified by ourselves. And that definitely makes us a believer. That's okay. We don't take the pain to dig deep what's going on uh, surrounding in our surrounding universe. But we don't need to know the whole universe. If we take just only one object or only one action and go deep into it until we see what's going on, we will know the whole universe, what's going on in the whole universe. And definitely that will tell us who we are actually. And without knowing who we are, we won't know anything. But that's okay. Slowly we will go to that direction. So anything which is introduced by us as an explanation, or as a attempt to know, those will need introduction of false cause. And that's basically the process of superimposition, bringing a false cause to justify an action that we are observing, and using the same cause to create different similar type of actions. I mean, they cannot be identical, but they will fall under the same category. And that frame of reference, the cause which can be used as a frame of reference, like three dimension or time, etc. We will see what's the falsity about the three dimension or time, and any doership, the doership nature of us. That's the main core thing to know what superimposition is. And any false cause will need the justification, and that is basically the source or the reason of development of the logic. All those arguing logic, and the purest form is the mathematics for science. And definitely there has to be no reason for what is evident or what is real or truth. We don't need to explain that because that's in front of us. That us, that is actually us. So that is also a fact. So let's see why it's impossible to know either energy or object, because these two are the thing that we superimpose to explain the whole universe or to explain our body or the objects that we see around us. So these two are the main primary things according to us. And when a person tries to know either energy or any object, he has to interact either the energy or the object with another object or energy. Otherwise it won't be producing any action that he will be able to observe. So any observation means we are observing an action, and during that there will be interaction between the energy and the object, and that will produce the action or behavior or communication, whatever you say it. And we will be observing that, either the action or the behavior or the communication. Neither of them will tell the reality of either the energy or the object, because the concept of energy and object is introduced by us. So we can say whatever we like about them by devising the experimentation that we want to devise, and it goes on. Uh, it's absolutely false in the higher level of reality, but in the transactional level, that is the day-to-day life, where we need those frame of references for creating the similar effect. So it's like, let's say we see an action of burning something. Let's say when we lit up the propane, there will be fire. So if we write down what's the process of for this action, so there has to be a lighter or any firing device or producing a fire device, and there has to be the hydrocarbon, that is propane, and if we bring them together it will produce fire with heat, etc. We can take that information as a frame of reference and we can perform the similar sort of action to produce heat and light. We can change the lighter, and we can change the fuel. We can bring any other hydrocarbon or a candle or anything, and we can use that concept to do similar sort of action. So it doesn't mean that the it doesn't mean that the frame of reference is absolutely true, because it tells nothing. It's our own thought that we are imposing to to objectify that action that we observed right now, and that objectified concept we can impose to create more actions like that. So that's handy stuff, but that doesn't mean it's real. It's a subtle thing. I mean, anyone can argue, but if you argue you will miss the whole point. The whole point is to completely remove all sorts of fear, anxiety, the sorrowness, or the suffering, whatever you call it. So this is very, very subtle. Just look at it, go through it. Suddenly you will realize the whole thing. And that doesn't mean the whole universe will be vanished in front of your eyes, but you will be the enjoyer, the actual enjoyer of the whole universe. Anyway, that's a different topic. So yeah, so another important thing is, if we don't superimpose or if we don't bring any thoughts or any ideas which are false, that's okay. But if we don't bring them, we won't be able to create, we won't be able to uh, know that they are actually introduced by us, and we won't be able to know what's a higher level of reality. So if we know that all the things that we are seeing, which are objectified by us, like a tree, the air, the sunlight, the sun, the universe, the galaxy, everything, which are actually connected with each other. There is no discontinuation, there is no gap between all the things. So that means it's a whole unit. But we are helpless to objectify them via discontinuation, because we are observing different all sorts of color, smell, taste, touch, etc. And each moment we are helpless but to superimpose different concepts like ugly, beauty, heat, coldness, sorrow, pleasure, you name it. uh, and that actually, when we know the mechanism of the superimposition, which helps us to create things, then only we will know what is the higher level of reality, and that will open the door for the biggest surprise to the human beings. It's the biggest surprise, and it will just unleash all the unmeasurable amount of joy that a human being can experience. And that's actually the goal for all of us, to experience what is life.